We are starting a healthy new year with a mega salad, delicious black eyed peas, and some collard greens. Come into the kitchen. We are always starting our new year with healthy foods. And today we're preparing a delicious mega salad with black eyed peas, and collard greens. So we're going into 2021 and we're going to be healthy and wise. Join us. We are going to have so much fun today, and we're preparing a healthy uh, meal for the new year. And certainly, we are so thankful to be able to have our families and eat in our small bubbles during New Year's Day. And so I'm sharing with you because our family, we're together, but we're together virtually. And so we're sharing what we're doing in our kitchens together. Now, we're starting off with a delicious mega salad. And this mega salad has all kinds of goodies. You can see that I'm using the Vidalia Chop Wizard. I love, 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 love my Vidalia Chop Wizard because especially for those vegetables that are hard to cut and we're just pressing those carrots right through. It gets them to a little small size. They're perfect. And I'm just zipping right on through those carrots. Now, so we're using our chop wizard to prepare the carrot portion and get all of those little carrots chopped and ready for the salad. Now, you'll see that I have the onion. Now, this time, I'm only putting half an onion into this salad, which isn't normal for me. And the reason for that is because these little onions are wicked. They are so strong. And that's one of those things that you just have to adjust. And it's based on what it smells like when you start to cut into it. And sometimes they're very, very strong. Now, in this salad, we're also adding broccoli because broccoli is so good for us. We need to get in those good green cruciferous vegetables all the time. So I am just chopping up broccoli, and this was a portion of a head, and I'm just chopping that up. And with this kind of salad, with a mega salad, you're looking not only at what you're putting into it, but the quality of the veggies that you're putting into your salad. You want to make sure that if this salad is going to be the biggest portion that you eat for dinner, then you want to make sure that it covers and checks off all of your necessary nutrients for the day. So this salad is certainly going to do that. It's going to be very colorful. Now, I'm using my largest bowl. It's a large stainless steel bowl, and I won't say that it's necessarily the largest bowl available because it's not. There are some bowls that are much larger that you could get, but this is the one I'm using. Now, one thing about making a mega salad is you want to make sure that all of your components are tiny. And the reason for that is because, number one, you want to make sure that you are able to stir and to mix this salad well. Now, we're adding in a red cabbage. Oh, red cabbage. Anytime you have a red vegetable, you know that it's going to just give you all kinds of good antioxidants. Now, I thought I might try that chop wizard with this red cabbage, but I thought, it doesn't take that long to chop up a slice of red cabbage because red cabbage goes a long way. So I am using about a quarter of that little head and chopping it up finely because cabbage is chewy and you want it tiny. You don't want things in your salad that people can really start to pick out. And you just want those vegetables small And in just a moment, we're going to get in there. Now, my hands are nice and clean, and we are going to really mix this salad. Now, we're not finished, but we have to mix all along the way because some of those vegetables will end up on the bottom, and you'll finish the salad only to find that, say, for instance, all of the onions were sitting on the bottom and never made it to the top of the salad. So you have to mix as you're preparing the salad. So I'm looking at that other little piece and trying to decide, do I need it or not? But when I looked at the color of the salad, I thought, no, I'm good. So we like um, green leaf lettuce, and this is just iceberg. That's the big guy's favorite lettuce. And while I like romaine a little bit, and sometimes I will throw a little bit of romaine in, he's really not a fan of romaine. So most of the time, you're going to see that our salads are made with iceberg lettuce. You can use whatever kind of lettuce you want. This is the point you must remember. Whatever it is that you put in, it needs to be in a small dice. So that's the reason why I'm making sure that as I slice this lettuce, that I'm making those slices very small. And then I'm going to turn it in the opposite direction to put it into about less than a 1 inch dice. So that when I start to mix this salad, you're not going to have large pieces of lettuce sticking out. It's going to really incorporate and be a part of the salad, not something that the salad is sitting on. So get your hands in there, and you have to take probably about 3 or 4 minutes and just toss and toss and toss. Now, these are not all of the ingredients, but these are all of the ingredients that we can put in the bowl. And I say that because you notice I haven't really put any really wet vegetables in. And I'm referring to like carrots. I haven't put those in. You think about cucumbers. I haven't put those in. And that's because when you buy those bags of mixes, this is what we're making. We're making a salad mix. And this salad mix is probably going to last us with a mega salad. It will probably last the two of us 2 days, exactly 2 days. And I typically do this. Now, I'm going to use Roma tomatoes. And notice I'm using a serrated knife, and that's because they cut the tomatoes perfectly. So let's get those tomatoes diced. Now I am slicing each of those little Roma tomatoes into quarters and then turning them, taking the end off. While I don't have a problem with eating the ends, some people do. And so I'm taking the ends off, and then we're slicing again. And you'll see that it comes out into these little nice, small, petite little pieces of tomato, which is just perfect for your salad. But we are not going to put it into our salad mix. We're going to place it into the bowl so that we can keep it, we'll cover it, and it'll be ready for the salad when we're ready to put it together. Now, this is a very pretty bowl that we're using. And if you remember back just before Christmas, I picked up a good deal on some Pioneer Woman dishes. And we're putting the tomatoes into this cranberry colored Pioneer Woman bowl. And once we get them there, we're going to cover it with plastic wrap and place them into the refrigerator until we're ready to serve them for dinner. I have also boiled some eggs. As you can see, they've been shelled, and I'm slicing them in half. boiled eggs just add that touch of protein that we all need. Now, what are you serving your family today? And is it healthy? I hope you're getting your black-eyed peas in because you know it said that black-eyed peas and greens make for a very, very lucky new year. And I'm not so much on luck, but I do love the black-eyed peas and I do stay with that tradition. And I'm not sure if that's a southern thing or a northern thing, and it really doesn't matter because black-eyed peas are good no matter where you live. And certainly under typical circumstances, we would be serving them with our family. So we will just have to enjoy them and go on with our day. So we're going to wrap these items. We're going to get them into the refrigerator until we're ready to serve dinner. And then we're going to bring out the bowls. Well, now it's time to get that mega salad into the bowl, and they are going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, notice this is a huge salad, and the reason for that is because we're going to make half of our dinner salad, and we're just going to have a little of the rest. And that really makes a much more healthy plate. So when you're looking at your plate, you have to figure that 3/4 of your plate should be vegetable, and the last fourth is for anything else that you may be serving. Now notice that I've got our salad mix into the bowls. I'm bringing out the tomatoes so that we can place the tomatoes onto the salad. And we want to get those in. Now, if you have someone who doesn't like tomatoes, then obviously they don't have to put those in. But I'm just dividing the tomatoes up between the two of us. I know both of us love tomatoes. Now here's our boiled eggs, and it's our main bit of protein because we're not serving any meat. And so I'm putting in an egg and a half. And so you'll see that it's going to look very pretty. So there we've got those, and these eggs are ready for another day. Now when I went over to the refrigerator, I found some bacon bits that I needed to use, as well as some cheese, some shredded cheese that I needed to use up. So I'm going to add a little cheese to our salad. And here's our little bacon bits, and they're actually bacon that's been chopped up. So I'm putting a little bit of that on, and that is our main meat. So you see that that's not enough to really even sweat. So we love blue cheese. And besides, that was the only thing I had left because I haven't been to the grocery yet. We're using dried black-eyed peas. And I purchased these because of the fact that we were in the middle of a pandemic. I was trying to make sure that I didn't use canned black-eyed peas. Not that there's anything wrong with canned black-eyed peas, but I do try to cut back on the use of cans when I can, when when it's possible. So our black-eyed peas that we're going to use today, we have to rinse well. We need to go through them and make sure that there aren't any little bad peas that are in there, too dark. Sometimes you get those that are very black. Sometimes you might even find some rock that may be down in the bag. So those are the kind of things that you're picking out. We're going to give these peas a very good rinse. And once we've done that, we're going to bring them back over and place them into the crock pot. Now, one thing that I forgot to tell you was that I actually did this the day before. And the reason for that was because these peas are going to need to soak. Now, you don't have to soak them overnight, but I did since I thought about it early enough. But if you have to do it the day of, then you're going to want to soak them in boiling hot water and then pour that hot water off. Put them back on the stove and give them about an hour or so to plump up. Put them back in some more water, let them come back to a second boil, and then turn the fire off and let them sit. And they will plump up like they're supposed to. And once they've done that, then you can re-rinse again and you're ready to start the actual cooking process. Good morning and Happy New Year. I'm getting up. I let my black eyed peas soak overnight. And as you can see, they're in the pot. And I am going to get these rinsed off well. Then I'm going to put in all the seasonings, all the goodies that need to go in here to cook them. And then we are going to get to the greens. Sieve won't be hard. Get the water off because we soaked them overnight. I'm going to give them a little bit of a rinse. And then do it one more time. Now that's just to make sure that if there was any dirt or dust that may have been on them from processing, that's gone. You can see we've still got some starch. We cleaned them and picked out any little bad peas that may have been in there. All right, so now we're ready. Whoop, lost a few, but that's okay. We've got more than enough. Now there are some key things that need to go in these peas. We want them to be healthy, and yet we want them to have lots of flavor. I like for my black eyed peas to have a little background of not so much a gravy, but a sauce that is a little bit thick. And normally I would do that with a little bit of flour and butter, but trying to do it healthy, we're going to use a vegetable that's going to release enough starch in addition to the starch that the peas are going to release, and it's just going to bring that body up. Now, you know I'm a proponent of throwing a couple of half potatoes into this mixed, and then I'll pull them out at the end because they're not really a part of the dish, but I do want them to impart their starch. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get those potatoes, get them ready, and place them in. We also need our trinity. We need our onions, our celery, and our carrots to go into this mix. And we're going to throw in a little bit of green pepper as well. So let's get that ready. Now, as you can see, I have my potatoes here that I've washed and I've halved. I've got celery, carrots, and the green pepper. I'm going to get these washed, and then we'll be ready to start chopping and putting them in. Okay, now we've got our celery, and I'm going to take my celery. What I did was, these have been around since Christmas, to be honest with you. And I thought, well, I'll clean them up a bit. And that's what I did. So I'm just chopping them into smaller pieces. They don't have to be extremely tiny, unless you have little folks in your family that if they see the vegetable, then it's a bad vegetable. So in that case, you may want to do more of a grate or an extremely small chop so that it will kind of melt into the background. So there's our celery. That's in. Let's look at our green pepper. Now I'm taking out the center, and I shake off some of the little seeds, but I'm not that particular about the seeds. I'm okay with them. They haven't done anything to me. So let's get those done. And in our house, green peppers are good. Even for our grandkids, they like them too. So, but they like them raw. And we're putting in some green pepper. I think I'm going to get another little piece of green pepper. I don't think I'll need all of it, but certainly we want enough. And get that in. So I hope you have started off the new year happily, that you stayed safe last night at our house. Oh my goodness, I don't know if people were shooting because of the New Year's when the 12 o'clock came, or whether it was fireworks. I couldn't tell. Either way, I was a little unnerved, and it was like, okay, this is a little much. But it went on for a few minutes, and then things kind of quieted down. So they didn't go too long after 12 o'clock, which was a good thing. We had a really bad incident with people firing off guns like that. And you may not realize this, but I hope every person does, that when you shoot those guns up into the air in celebration, that those bullets eventually find their way back to the earth. And they find their way back either into someone's roof, through someone's roof, or into someone. And several 4th of Julys ago, we had a terrible tragedy of where a bullet fell from the sky and struck a little 5-year-old boy right in the head. It was devastating. So I'm saying to you, find another way. Shoot it into the ground. At least you know where it's going. And if you just must do that, that's never been one of my practices. But, you know, if that's something you feel the urge and the need to do for the 4th or for New Year's, then certainly remember, fire into the ground. And that's my family's practice of doing, you know, if they're going to do it, they shoot it into the ground to stay safe. So there's our carrots, and we're going to place those potatoes. I'm going to keep these 2 carrots because, you know, we have to have our salad. Now, I'm only using half an onion because this bag of onions has been the strongest onions I have had in a long time. And, oh my goodness, woo, they can light up the place. So sometimes you just get a bag of onions that are like that. And it's like every onion in that bag talks to you. So I am just going to put these in, and there's our half onion, and that was a small onion, a really, really, really small onion, because had it been any bigger, we would have put in less. So that's half of a very small, strong onion. So let's put these away. We've got all the vegetables, fresh vegetables in. I'm thinking, depending upon, I'm not so sure that I'm going to do a lot of meat with this. I think I may make this a meat-free meal. And if that's the case, then I'm going to add some chopped mushrooms into our pot.
and you will love it. Having your mushrooms in, and I use baby bellas, chop them up so that those who are a little mushroom scared, they will just kind of chew and keep right on going. It's kind of like tofu. As long as you don't see it, you know, you can kind of ignore it. But because mushrooms are going to pick up what's behind it. So we're going to certainly put some mushrooms into this pot. Now it's time to get to the seasoning. Let's first start with a little bit of onion powder. I'm only going to put in about a 1/4 teaspoon. So I'm going to actually open this up, use my measure, and measure in a 1/4 teaspoon that I'm going to sprinkle in, because it's going to give it a little background flavor that the regular onion's not going to impart. It's kind of an earthier feel. I'm also going to add in a little bit of garlic powder, about a 1/4 teaspoon of that as well. Let's face it, food must taste good. And these are kind of calorie-free things that you can add in. Now, you know I have to have my pepperoncino. And I'm just going to put in a little pinch of pepperoncino because I don't want it hot, but I do want it to have a little seasoning to it. Just a little, just a little. Now you notice I haven't put in any salt or pepper yet. I'm going to add in this mix. It's oregano, a little bit of dried garlic, and has a little lemon zest to it. And I tell you what, I love this mix. So I'm going to put in, that's a 1/4, and I'm just going to give it a little more. So I'm going to say about a 1/2 teaspoon of that. Okay, so that's in. Let's get our salt and pepper. I don't want to go crazy with it. We're going to start with the pepper. I'll put in about a 1/4 teaspoon. Remember, we can always take away. Well, we can always add, but we can't always take away. So that's a 1/4 teaspoon. And we have about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, because the peas, remember, were dried peas, so they had absolutely no seasoning whatsoever. Now you're looking at this going, okay, well, where's the liquid? Well, I am going to add in, I'm going to use chicken broth. And so that, to me, is going to be that part of the protein that is going to go into this meal. So we're going to add in about 2 quarts of chicken broth. Okay, so that's 1 quart of chicken broth. Make sure to get all the goodness out of there. And we'll add in the second, and then we'll give it a little zhuzh. Now, I gave my black-eyed peas a little stir before I added in that second quart of broth, and I am so glad I did, because as you can see, there is plenty of juice. And I think by the time everybody imparts their flavor, I think this is just going to be absolutely delicious. And it's going to be so nice and colorful, as well as this broth is going to thicken up. The peas are going to soak up a lot of the broth, and this is going to become, the background is going to be very creamy. So I'm going to put this on my crock pot. I'm actually going to put it on high. Now, normally I wouldn't do that. Oh, one thing I forgot. I need to put in a pinch of baking soda. Do that all the time, because that helps those peas release their gas. And you'd rather they release the gas now rather than later. So I've got my 1/4 teaspoon measure, and that's the baking soda for the pot. So those peas, once they get nice and warmed up and ready to go, they're going to release their gases here and not later. So, because you know, beans and peas can sometimes be a little difficult on the body. So let's get these in the crock pot and up on high. And I'm thinking within about 3 hours, they'll be ready to go. Or if you're really in a hurry, you can put them on the stove and cook them for about, at least an hour or until they get as tender as you like them. Some people like theirs a little bit mushy. Some people like them a little more firm. And so I can't really say how you like yours, but I know I like mine that perfect place in between where they're a little bit firm, but yet and still they're a little bit soft. So we're going to play around with this, and I'll tell you exactly how long I cook this pot. And let me tell you, I fix black-eyed peas all the time. So it's not just a New Year's thing. So these are delicious, and I think you're going to like it. Now, here are the greens. They are hard, nice and crunchy. And what I do with my frozen greens is that when I bring them in, I give them a minute or so, and I kind of give them a little crush. And what this does is that it helps to break them up, because when I am cleaning these and putting them into the bag, I don't worry about cutting them up. And I just freeze them, and then when they come out, I can take care of the size of the leaves at this point. So I am just crushing as we go. That's how I do mine. Saves you so much time and so much energy. Now I know the true Southern belles are out there going, "Oh my, this is not the way to do it." I know, the Southern belles have to cut theirs, and they have a certain way they have to be cut, and it's just so much, so many proper things that we are supposed to do to our greens. But you know what? I'm more concerned about people actually cooking fresh greens. And I remember as a young mom and a new cook to the kitchen, that it was time consuming. By the time I got home from work and checked everybody's papers, my children's papers, the papers from school, I didn't have time to be cutting greens. So I had to develop a system that worked for me. So I'm saying to you, it looks good when everybody's slicing and dicing their greens. But you know what? When people start to eat those greens, they aren't out there looking to see how perfectly cut that they are. They will use a knife if they need to and slice those greens and keep it moving. So we're going to put these into a pot of hot broth with onions, and I have to have a little potato in there to give it that little background and to sweeten up the broth, because greens can be a little bitter. I'm going to add in a pinch of sugar, and just a pinch, like that 4th teaspoon that you saw. That's all the sugar that's going to go in there. And so we are going to get these greens simmering so that by the time the black-eyed peas are ready, the greens are going to be ready, the salad is already made, and I may even throw a little southern cornbread together. And tonight is going to be a delicious meal for 2021. Now I've brought you over to the stove, and in my brazier, I'm going to add in a little bit of cooking oil, just about a tablespoon. And I'm also going to add in that half onion, the one we didn't use in the black-eyed peas. We're going to put in here because we know it is very strong. So I'm going to turn my fire on, And today is kind of a sad day for the stove because prayerfully this is its last day sitting here in my kitchen, and that it's going to be delivered to someone else who needs a stove, and I hope to get my new stove in place. So we are just, I'm enjoying today with it, and we're doing lots of cooking with it, but I also know that it is going to be, hopefully, departing the kitchen of Ebony Ivy Thyme. So we've got our salt, we've got our pepper, and I'll get a spoon. I'm going to add in a little pepper, just a little, about a half teaspoon. A little half teaspoon of salt here. And we'll probably have to go back and add some more. But for now, this is enough. Oh, and we need to add in a touch of sugar. So let's get that in. Here's our sugar. Get my little teaspoon. I have one little clump right here. Boom. He's going in. There he is. That's going to take care of the bitterness. And close it up and put it away. Now I still have some chicken broth that I'm going to be using. And we'll get it nice and hot. But I kind of want this to saute just a little bit. And then we'll start to add the grains. Right? Just kind of going by giving it a little crunch every now and then just to make sure those grains are right. So when this is nice and hot, I'll bring you back. Our onions are getting happy down here in the pan. I don't know if you can hear their sizzle. I'm going to add in a little teaspoon of some fresh garlic. I don't want a lot because I don't want it to overpower the taste of our greens, but a teaspoon would be fine. So there's a little teaspoon of garlic. Have my jar, and he's all zipped up, so he's going back in there. And so it can keep all these garlicky flavors and smells, fragrances to itself in the refrigerator. So I want them to cook, but I don't want them to burn. Now, I'm going to add in a quart of chicken broth. And I want that to come up to a boil. And once it starts to boil, we'll start to add in the greens. Now, I will probably add more broth. But at this point, we're going to stop with 1 quart. So let's get it boiling. Cut that heat up, and there we go. All right, guys, this is about to come up and start to bubble. And I'm just adding a few things. I've added in the garlic. I'm also, I add in a little shake of parsley, just because I like parsley. And I'm also adding in a little shake of celery seed, because I'm not really using celery, but I want a little bit of that flavor. So you can see it's bubbling. I'm going to add in a pinch of pepperoncino to raise that flavor as well, because you know, with greens it really is all about the flavor. So there, that's going. And now that this is bubbling, it's time to add the star of the show, which of course are the greens. So we're going to start to put those in. Got a few little chunks in here, but not many. Getting big handfuls, and you can see it's broken itself into smaller pieces. I have one little chunk I could not get to break down, but okay. So he's in there as well. we go. I always like to freeze my greens. I just think it tenderizes them and gives them the texture that I like for those greens to have. And you know, with greens too, it looks like a lot. Like this bag really looks like it would feed an army. But you'd be surprised if I was having my normal army or fixing greens for my normal army that I take greens to, I would need 2 of these bags at least. Because I typically buy probably about 8 grocery bags full of greens when I'm preparing for the entire family. So there we go, we're getting that in. And remember, it's just going to be Popeye and I. We're keeping it simple, keeping it kind of low key. So I don't need a ton, but I am going to cook enough because I kind of like some of these for Sunday. So I'm going to add more once this starts to come up to a boil. And then I'll adjust the liquid if we need to. So I'm just sprinkling in. I'll leave enough for some greens to add into a soup. I do that very often. I like a kale and greens soup that I put together. It's got, well, it's either kale, or actually you can use any type of soup. But Olive Garden has a delicious kale and sausage soup. So sometimes if I have kale, I use kale. And if I don't, I use whatever greens I have. Which is typically the collards. So you can use either one. Kale cooks up a little faster than the collards, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We've got time, and we can always put it in a crock pot. You can even put it on overnight, and that kale and sausage soup is delicious. And so we might have to put some of that together. I think I've done that on the channel. You might want to look back, because I think I've done a kale and sausage soup last winter. And if not, then we'll put it on there for this winter and have it ready to go. Okay, guys, I think we have enough greens, and I've got enough left that I can prepare that soup. One more little handful. You know, you're always one more little handful. Okay, that's it. I'm going to save these for our soup. Now you can see the liquid. Yeah, we've got a good amount of liquid. I'm going to add in just a smidge more of the broth. Okay. And I'm going to toss in our potato. Okay, I'm sticking in our potatoes, nuzzling them down in the pot so they can impart their starches. Now, hubby loves the juice left by the potatoes. They call it the pot liquor. And it is so good after you finish up and you have all that good pot liquor down in there. Get you a cup. There is nothing better. So I'm just putting that in. All right. That's done. We're going to put the top on it. And we're going to let this baby simmer until those greens are nice and tender.
Oh my goodness. These peas have been cooking for exactly 4 hours. And you know, we added those little pieces of potato in, and you can see how it's thickened, how the juices have thickened. I also added in those mushrooms, so the mushrooms have helped to soak up a little bit of the liquid, and it's perfect. They are absolutely perfect. And our house smells divine. If anybody walked into this house, they would come straight to the kitchen because they know that something good is about to go on that table. So I'm just letting you know, when you have good food and it smells wonderful, you are going to have a crowd. So let's look at this pot bubble for just a moment, and then we're going to take a peek at the greens, and I want you to see what we're going to do. Our black eyed peas are ready. And in addition to that, the greens are ready. And so I need to take some of those, take the potatoes out of the greens. And I'm just going to take a spoon, kind of give everything a stir. I'm going to add just a little more juice back into the greens because I had quite a bit. And then remove, of course, the potatoes from the greens, let them come back up to a little bit of a bubble because I had cut them back during the cooking time, cut the heat back during the cooking time so that everything would finish up at the same time. So the greens need to be just a little hotter, but the salad is ready, the black eyed peas are ready, and the greens are ready. So we're going to get ready to serve a delicious plate. Guys, you know I am so into a 30-minute meal. And this particular meal has certainly taken longer than 30 minutes. And even with editing and speeding things up and cutting things out, it ran a little longer than I had planned. But I hope that you will be able to get the sense of what it is to be in the kitchen and to enjoy serving a delicious meal for your family. This is a 2021 New Year's meal, and I'm just so excited that we were able to do it together right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. Now, you know, this particular meal is one that I look forward to every year. And so does the big guy because he likes everything that's being served. And so I want you to certainly be a part of the family. Subscribe. And that would go a long way to be able to help support our efforts. So we are staying together, being together, eating together. We are thinking about each other, praying for each other, and certainly feeling very blessed to have this food on our table. So let's take a moment and just breathe and be thankful for every moment of every day because 2021 has some wonderful things coming. We have started our new year 2021 with a healthy meal. We have a mega salad, we have black eyed peas, and we've got collard greens that are being served right here in the kitchen. Now, we want to make sure every day that we are maximizing our kitchen. So that means that we are doing things in the kitchen for the kitchen, which includes things besides just cooking. We're learning about family. We are learning how to create decor. And we are doing all kinds of things right here in the kitchen. We want to be able to prepare our meals more efficiently. We want to be able to use a variety of vegetables and meats and try a few things that we would not normally serve. And we also want to make sure that we put together a meal plan that gives us options for the entire month that we're able to use and to pick from and to serve our family with delicious, efficient meals that save time and money. So let's plan to be together in 2021. So if you haven't already tapped that subscribe button, please do so. And if you haven't clicked on that little bell icon, do that also, because these are the kind of things we do all the time right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. I so look forward to seeing you each and every week in this new year. So I'll see you very soon right here at Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme.